If you're trying to replace one of the old school mercury Honeywell thermostats, one of these little ones where you just turn it this way and the mercury moves and it turns your heat on and off, it might not be as easy as you think to get one of these new age Wi-Fi ones. If your system only has two wires, like mine only had the red and white, and you're buying one of these nice Wi-Fi enabled, app enabled Honeywells, or there's other ones out there, it might not be that easy because you can't actually power it up without a common wire. And you'll see a ton of people talking about common wire. Essentially, these used to have batteries and they were powered by batteries, but the batteries are going to die too much having the Wi-Fi always on. So you got to get a consistent power some other way. So the standard red and white wouldn't actually work for this Honeywell, and those are the only two wires I had. So we also got one of these nice new Nests that's supposed to work without the common wire. And the setup is actually pretty straightforward for the Nest. It's off right now, but essentially you got your white on your W1 and your red on your RH. Now, your colors aren't always correct, but in general, usually that's all you got to do. And here's the part that got tricky for me. The first time I hooked it up just like this, still didn't work. So I actually ran a new wire. As you can tell, I have more colors in here. And I snaked an entire wire down, hooked up a transformer, and from what I understand, there's two ways which I could have done it. I hooked up just the common wire here to one of the sides of the series of the 24-volt transformer, and what the Nest does is when the boil is not on, it uses the common wire to power it. The other thing I tried was hooking up from both the green and the blue to the transformer to close the circuit itself on the RC to the C. And all three setups the Nest was happy with. This one and the other two said, good to go, you got the right power, we're good to go, but it would never turn the heat on. Spent 3 days trying to figure out why the heat wouldn't turn on when I could just touch the wires together and it would turn right on. Well, come to find out, took a 2-hour phone call with Nest based on one of the forum posts, but apparently right out of the box, I actually had a bad base. I'm not entirely sure how it could be bad. I didn't open it. I didn't want to avoid the warranty. I would imagine it's pretty straightforward metal connections in there, but yep, this base was actually bad. And as soon as I put the new one in, heat turned right on. The support actually tried to tell me that my Buderis had a dry contact on the relay, so it wasn't supported, but it didn't make sense to me that as soon as I plugged it into even my Honeywell here with my new common wires, fired right up, and touching the wires together showed voltage. So I didn't buy that, and apparently I was right. The other thing is the first time I plugged it in, it wouldn't, even though I think it was hooked up right. And what you can do, I don't know how long mine had been off, but there's a little USB here, mini USB, and you could plug it into a standard, phone jack, and actually they say 5 seconds, and literally that's all you needed was 5 seconds, and it was charged, and then it actually turned on. Now, how can you tell you have enough voltage? Well, the Nest is actually pretty smart, and most things are pretty straightforward, but if you want to go into your Nest, technical info will actually show, there we go, it'll actually show you voltage in 36, and The other way to test the voltage on your wires is to just get your standard multimeter here. It's an AC system, AC 200. If you connect to your two wires here, connect your red. First, try to one hand this, and connect your white here. You should actually have, if I can get them lined up right. Yep, there we go. 26. So my 24 volt transformer is reading at 26, which is perfect. That's fine.